and celebrating Father's Day and celebrating the Father within us all. So let's begin with prayer. Father, Mother, God, beloved all, we are so happy to be here and join with you in celebrating life, in being the best that we can be, and honoring that spirit within us. So to begin, and it all begins in love, be with us now. Amen. And I guess, yes, are we going to have a song? I haven't turned on.
Okay. Oh, alrighty, Terry. We're gonna have words, huh? I'd like to build a world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honeybees and snow white turtle doves. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to hold it in my arms and keep it company. I'd like to see the world for once all standing hand in hand and hear them echo through the hills for peace throughout the land. That teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. Grow up and teach the world to sing. Oh. I'd like to build the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honeybees and snow white turtle doves. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to hold it in my arms and keep it company. To see the world for once all standing hand in hand. Hear them echo through the hills for peace throughout the land. To teach the world to sing perfect harmony. I'd like to teach the world to sing perfect harmony. That's the song I heard. Where was that?
Okay, let's say together our affirmation of faith. Unity is a positive, practical, progressive approach to Christianity based on the teachings of Jesus and the power of prayer. Unity honors the universal truths in all religions and respects each individual's right to choose a spiritual path. We believe every person is an expression of God and our thoughts have creative power. Inspired by Spirit, Unity of the Hills fosters unconditional love and acceptance by embracing diversity, creating an environment that encourages people to love one another and grow together.
Oh, we're going to sing right away. Think of your fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. You see it's getting late, oh please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place. Yes, the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Another day goes by, still the children cry, put a little love in your heart. If you want the world to know we won't let hatred grow, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place. Yes, the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see, wait and see. Take a good look around, and if you're breaking down, put a little love in your heart. I hope when you decide madness will be your guide, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Put a little love in your heart, put a little love in your heart, put a little love in your heart, put a little love in your heart. Love in your heart, put a little love in your heart. I got that love in my heart. Thank you.
Thank Helen. Thanks for leading us in the singing. And now, Hildy will read us the daily word.
Today's word, of course, is Father's love. I give thanks for my Father and all expressions of fatherly love. I treasure my childhood memories of feeling safe when my father or a father figure in my life was nearby. I remember my father's encouragement as I was learning to ride a bike, as we explored the wonders of nature together, and as he taught me to use money wisely. Even when I made youthful mistakes, my father's sometimes stern but always wise judgment helped me find the way back to my right path. I give thanks for both the sacred human and the unfolding expression of God within my Father and everyone who has blessed me with fatherly love. Today I pray for my father and for all fathers, affirming for each of them growing wisdom, understanding, and willingness to nurture others with a father's encouraging love. As the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Abide in my love. And that's from John 15, verse 9. And together, let's say the daily affirmation. I give thanks for my Father and all expressions of fatherly love.
All right, you're stuck with me today, so based on Marilyn's talk title, I thought this song might be appropriate. Sing along if you know it. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a reason, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain, bracing. Wow, how true is that? My turn. Now you sing. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to win, a time to sow, a time for love, a time for hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late. Y'all did good.
Good morning. I'm going to take all my equipment up here and then see if I can turn it off. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Marilyn Harper, and I have been coming here to Unity for quite a while. Do you ever think that life is just a joke? And I love life. I do. Let me turn around. So if I leave it like this, then it overheats. And you know, we have overheating together. There, I'll leave it like that. That's good. Good morning. Who's on first? You know, the title of this, as you see, is. Oh, look at that. No, not yet. Exactly. So you can go back to the other one. So just visualize this. The universe is God's handwriting. Of course, we all know God doesn't really have hands except for our hands. So the universe is the writing on the wall. And like, what the heck does that mean? You know, it was one of those things that I heard Marianne Williamson say. I watch her every Tuesday night. Did you know that you can watch? Do you know who Marianne Williamson is? She actually ran for president. And she said that line, and I wrote it down because I thought that it was so cool. And then I thought, well, that's what I'll talk about this morning. And then, of course, I thought, what the heck does that mean? The symbols on the wall, the dropping. Can you hear my oxygen puffing? No. Oh, you can't? Oh, good, then I'll leave it on. I do take it off from time to time, but not very long yet. But, you know, when I thought of today, that's what I thought of this message. And then I realized that there were signs all around the world that are meant just for us. She steps on her cord. This is going to be fun, I can tell. This is the very first time I have spoken in front of a group of people with my oxygen on. I mean, yay! This is the very first time I was able to put 2 earrings in on this side today. Yay! This is the very first time I actually attached my necklace on the back instead of the front. Yay! We celebrate everything. That's what God's writing is really all about, which has nothing to do with what I wrote here. Imagine that. Then after I picked that topic, I realized, oh, wait, today's Father's Day. I should talk about fathers. And then I thought, you know, we always talk about the Divine Mother. The Divine Mother this, the Divine Mother. I even have a ring somewhere that's got the Divine Mother on it in obsidian. You know, it was like a rainbow obsidian. Anyway, whatever happened to the Divine Father? I mean, we never really think about that. And somebody reminded me as I polled my friends as to what I should talk about, because I had 3 or 4 subjects. After I gave the title to Janelle, which she had that, which because she never got the title. because I was still polling people yesterday. and I said, we could tell stories about our fathers, and everybody here could tell a wonderful story about our fathers. And you think of the father of Jesus. We never hear about Joseph, the father of Jesus. And when I was in Israel, we were by the River Jordan, and I heard inside of my head, and for those of you that don't know, I I hear voices in my head. And I repeat them out loud. That's the difference. I repeat those voices out loud. Anyway, I heard when Jesus was a boy that he would play by the River Jordan, and he and his friends, and they would make little clay figures, because the earth in Israel is very clay-like, very thick and clay-like, or sand, either one. And so he would make little figures, and his friends would make little like stick figures or animals and things out of the clay, which is fun, and you can see kids doing that. Well, Jesus blew on the clay, which blew life into the clay, and he put it down, and the little dog ran off, which scared the bejesus out of his friends. And so, of course, Jesus ran home and said, "They all ran away. What did I do? What did I do?" And can you imagine Joseph, his father, setting him on his knee and saying, sometimes people just are afraid of things they don't understand, and telling him that little story that maybe your father told you when you did something crazy when you were a kid, or maybe not, which thought, well, then I'll tell stories. We'll tell stories about our fathers, right? That's a message for Father's Day. I was so lucky. I had a great father. I was going to bring his picture, but it was on the wall, and it was like too big, and I thought, with that and this, how am I going to do that? Imagine a really handsome guy looking like Cary Grant. And he looked like Cary Grant his whole life, only he had darker hair. But the things that he taught me, he raised 5 kids and was the manager of the local lumber company in a tiny town in Parsons in Kansas, which that was before Walmart, before Lowe's, before Home Depot. So that was the center of the community in my brain anyway. And he was the person that taught me how to pitch a tent. He taught me that to respect my elders and to love everyone, even the grit lady who walked all over town selling grit newspapers with her father until she actually died. That we had to love her even though she was much different than we were. He taught me that we were all messengers, because God was talking through us, which, again, as a 5-year-old, scared the bejesus out of me, because I didn't quite understand that. Now I do. Thank goodness, because God does talk through us. And my dad also taught me that you don't eat everything from the garden. Unfortunately, he taught me that after I ate the worm. Well, he told me to take it and put it away, so I thought, I'll put it away, and I ate it. It was not good. Not good at all. And, but the wisdom that he shared with me was very powerful. And then I thought, well, I'll talk about that, and we can all share wisdom. And I polled my friends, and I said, what do you think about that for a topic today, instead of God's handwriting on the wall, or the universe is God's handwriting? And they said, well, in a deadpan expression, my dad died when I was 8. I don't remember much about him, so I don't think that's a very good topic. Okay. Moving on. Then I thought, yesterday was Juneteenth. You know, I, I think I've lived the last 10 years of my life in a barrel of airplanes. I think until COVID hit, and then I was in a barrel on my chair watching birds and doing nothing. Um, Yesterday or the day before on NPR, National Public Radio, they talked about Juneteenth. And I thought, what? I was at the bank at that point, and I love the bank because they give me money most of the time, not always. And there was a sign that said the bank will be closed Saturday in honor of Juneteenth. And I'm like, what the heck is Juneteenth? And in answer to my prayer, because the universe is God's handwriting, NPR just came on and said, we're going to celebrate Juneteenth tomorrow. And that is the first time or the second time it's a national holiday. And I'm like, I must have missed something. Well, I missed something because of the color of my skin and not paying attention to the world, even though the universe has written so many times, so many places, so many where that we need to pay attention. We need to pay attention because that is God's message. You know, the Emancipation Proclamation by Abraham Lincoln was the oldest celebration of the freedom of slavery. However, from what I read and heard through those voices in my head and my friends that I was polling, they didn't really free the slaves then. In fact, in many instances, they haven't even really freed the slaves now. And then I got to thinking about that, and I thought, what is the message for us? What in Juneteenth? I mean, first of all, it was June, they think, 19th or somewhere there around about, which is where they got Juneteenth. And you all obviously know all about this because you paid attention. I'm just learning. And then I thought about and I don't want to, upset anyone, but I may. Is that okay? Good, because I will upset you anyway. I just thought about the message of the God's handwriting for all the volunteers of the world that teach us, and I can speak in this room for most of us anyway, as Caucasians. Not all of us, but as Caucasians, we have not been very nice. We need to drop down on our knees and apologize to every person of color that we have probably ever encountered from the roots of our ancestors. And I thought that people would think that I was really crazy if every time I encountered a person of color, I dropped on my knees and I said, I'm so sorry. But, we look at the indigenous of each land here in the United States, in Australia, in, the indigenous cultures. What have those we Caucasians done? I am so sorry. I apologize. I can't drop on my knees, otherwise I can't get back up again. And I'll tell you that story in a minute. And then I think, what happened in the history of the United States that maybe our history books didn't tell us? I was polling my friends, and I think in the past few years, God has been highlighting some of the injustices and prejudices of our people and our nation. And I think that's a really good thing, even though it's a really uncomfortable thing to go through. But not everything that we go through is comfortable. And that, I'm wondering if that means that's a direct relationship to how stubborn we might be in learning those lessons. And then I think, well, I didn't do that. I didn't oppress people because of the color of their skin. I didn't, but some of my people, my ancestors did. My ancestor was William Seward, one of my ancestors, who ran against Abraham Lincoln in the election. Please don't hold that against me. I am now making amends for that because if he would have won the election, we may still have slavery because that's what he was for. So Juneteenth is a whole topic unto itself. And it's not about oppression. It's about the realization that all people, according to God's handwriting, are created equal. You know, I'm doing a course in miracles, and every half hour, oh, it's going to talk to me now. No, don't talk. Every half hour, my smartwatch tells me the statement for today, which I'm on the review. Do you all do the Course in Miracles? How many of you do the Course in Miracles? What do the rest of you do? If you don't get the Course in Miracles, I mean, if you don't understand it, because I went through it twice, looked at the words and thought I believed them and thought I understood them, but I really didn't. So the third time I went through it, I bought Pam Grout's book, A Course in Miracles Experiment, and she kind of explains it in a way that I can understand it, and then I read the Course in Miracles. So if you want to try it again, you can. Pam Grout, Grout, who's from Lawrence, Kansas. Anyway, where was I? Oh, I read it every day, and it says, I am not my body. I am free as God still created me. And that Course in Miracles doesn't say, as God says, as God created me with brown skin, or God created me with red skin, or God created me with yellow skin, or God created me with black skin, or God created me with white skin. And then I got into a vehement discussion with the friends that I polled about that it should be illegal to have the Confederate flag flying, and I thought that that should be illegal, and he didn't think it should be illegal, and I'm like, but it represents slavery. How could you do that? And he says, but it represents the Southern culture, which was slavery then. So anyway, so that's not what we're talking about today. Instead, because that's just a little too controversial on a Sunday morning at 10:30 in the morning, don't you think? On Father's Day, you know. And you know, so many times your father may have taught you things that are not necessarily in your highest good. One of the best, I was talking with another friend. I thought, well, if those friends don't work with me, I'll call somebody else. and I said, what did your father teach you? And her father taught her to never give up, and that she would never quite be good enough. And he taught her forgiveness, and that he volunteered for. Which, how many of your fathers taught you forgiveness? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And they may not have said, okay, this is how you forgive, but they may have given you reasons to forgive. And they volunteered for that mission, as many other people do, as we all volunteer for our missions, right? And sometimes we think, what the heck is that? But that's our mission. And with that, it kind of brought me back to the symbolism the universe is telling us. And I may be avoiding the elephant in the room that's pumping air into my lungs. For those of you that don't know, this is an oxygen concentrator, a portable oxygen concentrator that allows me to be here. A few months ago, well, and I've had hundreds of people, including a few of the people in this room, that have said, why did this happen? And if you don't know what happened, I was in San Diego, at our studio in San Diego, because we now have a studio in San Diego because of COVID. I was out there, and we had gone to a restaurant in some little strip center, some Mexican restaurant, which was delicious food. And it was dark, and I was going down a ramp and stumbled. And as I was catching my balance at great speed, I guess, trying to upright myself, I was stopped by an 8-foot trash dumpster. Well, I stopped the 8-foot trash dumpster by my arm. I've got a great scar. It goes, 12 inches of steel. I am the bionic woman in my arm now. However, my smartwatch called 911. Did you know that an Apple smartwatch, if it detects a fall, will actually say, we detect a fall. If we do not hear from you within 10 seconds or something, we will call 911. Which was great because I had no idea where we were. We're outside of some Mexican restaurant in San Diego. Could you find us? Considering, well, and then I had, during the surgery, I had severe complications due to another diagnosis that I had like a year or two ago. And I spent 17 days intubated. In ICU, I spent another week in ICU. I spent another week in the step-down unit. And then people said, well, what is Adirondha saying? Why did this happen? And I'm like, all they are telling me is that I should just focus on my healing and know and trust that everything will unfold beautifully. And I'm like, that is not acceptable. That doesn't work for me. And my control freakishness sort of blossomed as I was laying in the hospital unable to speak. Which I know that there's a few people that might have been a little happy about that. But not really. As we learn to trust the handwriting on the wall, as we learn to know that absolutely everything that happens is really our creation. And sometimes we think, what? How could I create this? And yet, we do. Because the handwriting on the wall, the handwriting is source, right? Is God. And God brings us information that we can learn from. God brings us situations that are generated by us because we are a part of that God energy, right? That we create in the moment, even when we're pushing against that moment, we still created it. So sometimes the fact that we know that we created it creates a little more pissosity in our life. and and then we get the opportunity to know that we created that. And we get over that as well. Because if we don't, then we stay in the moment before reading God's handwriting, which is the victim moment. And instead, what we have to do is be grateful for absolutely everything that happens. You know, Joy, my business partner, says gratitude is the abracadabra of the universe. It truly is the abracadabra of the universe. And the handwriting that we go through, the universe, God, brings us those messages so we can evolve, right? So we can grow. So we don't have to do the same thing over and over again. So we can learn that we need to honor all people. But right now, we need to honor the people of color because they've not been honored for so long. Right now, we need to honor our Father because we all have a Father. And we need to give thanks for the lessons our Father taught us. And then sometimes I think of the Confederate flag discussion. And I think I need to change my bracelet. And for those of you that don't know, the bracelets are an awareness bracelet. I mean, I got it from a Unity minister years ago. And every time you have a negative thought about somebody else or yourself, you change your bracelet. And I was thinking negative thoughts about my friend that had an opposite belief. I mean, he even voted for Trump. I'm like, so let's see how many people I can get upset today. That's why we live in this country, for freedom. My watch tells me I am not my body, I am free, as God created me. Every 30 minutes, reminding me. And that's the thing that is the handwriting on the wall. That's the message that God is bringing us everywhere. With the friends from Mountain Home, I used to go there like once a month when they had a Unity there and speak. I would do it again. I'm not doing anything else. The question becomes, how are we dealing with all of that? I know how I'm dealing with it, sometimes magnificently, sometimes not. I have learned something. Never go to the grocery store when you're depressed. Never. Never. Then your refrigerator and your cabinets are filled with Cheez-Its and ice cream. And of course, you don't want them to go to waste. Even if that depression may last a day. I mean, don't get me wrong. God doesn't give you any messages that are bad. God only responds to what your thoughts are. God gives you back what you are putting out. So I want to put out a lot of love. I want to put out that message that no matter what, of love. And I may be lugging this around for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, or when I go to Bimini the first week in August to swim with wild dolphins for 5 days with 12 people that I haven't necessarily met them all because it was a retreat that we're doing. I'm choosing to be without this. And I'll let all y'all help me. If there's one thing I've learned through this, I ask for help. What is the message that we are to read from God's handwriting? We all know that. Love, compassion, caring, joy, live, gratefulness, be grateful for absolutely everything. I put an earring in this side of my ear. I can bend my arm. The doctor said Friday I can lift something heavier than a coffee cup. Yeah! Let's just move into the stillness for a moment and feel into the writing that God is giving you in your world and what you are to communicate. In my meditation this morning on Insight Timer, they said, be still as a mountain and melt like the snow. I thought, what a great image. So let's be still like the mountain and just breathe into that stillness. And the notes that Terry may play to enhance that stillness. And then just take another deep breath in and feel that breath coming from your core. As I learn to breathe from my diaphragm, so can you. Breathing in and breathing out. As you are just breathing, what are those thoughts that filter through your mind? What is God's message for me? How can I communicate that message? What am I going to have for lunch? What are those thoughts? Just allow them to flow through and think of yourself as a beautiful mountain. Reaching high into the sky. Still anchored in the earth. Still. And then just breathe into that stillness, listening to the messages. And then if something unlike love surfaces, because there's only love, and sometimes we think too much. So if something unlike love seems to filter into your mind, just visualize that as snow melting in the spring as we enter into the solstice of this planet. And allow that, or those things that are unlike love, to just melt and drain away. Revealing the beautiful mountain that is underneath, which is you. You are the core of that love. And as I repeat a few phrases, just inside of your mind, just repeat them after me or with me. Just in your own stillness, inside of your mind. I am love. I am loved. I choose to forgive all of my own perceived shortcomings. I choose to honor and be grateful for the messages that others have brought me so I can forgive. I allow myself to understand the benefits in all situations in my life because I know they were placed there by Source so I can evolve and be the person, be like the person that can blow life into clay. I choose to blow life into the clay of this world. Take a deep breath. And come back to the present whenever you're ready. And open your eyes. And look at the clay that you are creating. And as you go through this week, I ask you to look around the world at God's handwriting and see how you are connecting with that. Thank you. Namaste.
And when my granddad remarried, of all things, wow, at 80 something years old. So he's in a. They were in like some kind of a care center where that wasn't total care. They took care of themselves, but there was nurses in the facility and stuff. So I just decided I'm going to ask him one day, "Hey, Grandpa, how was your dad?" Oh man, the look on his face of fear and hatred just came up, and he said, "I hated that SOB." I said, "But why?" See, the last time I saw him, I was 13 years old, running through a rice field, and he was shooting at me to kill me. I said, I never knew this. I guess in my age, we didn't talk to our grandparents much growing up, and or even our parents about their life experiences. He said his dad was an alcoholic and had beat his mom and all. He got in the middle of that many, many times, and one day he had had enough, and he stood up to his dad, and his dad kicked him out, and he ran away from Dallas, Texas, out to the rice fields, and ran away at 13 and joined the circus. I didn't know that either. The things you learn later in life. So I've said, like, well, if my grandfather didn't know how to be a good dad, and my dad didn't know how to do a good dad, maybe it is true. Everybody does the best they can till you learn better. And for me growing up, I did grow up around the mostly Southern Baptist church, so I learned a lot about the Bible that said, love everybody. And that was the way I kind of got a hold of it. And all I always say, Jesus loves all the little children of the world. They're yellow, black, and white. They are precious in His sight. And I never thought of it any different. And other people may have had other experiences, but I guess I adopted the unity principle early on. Is I'm in charge of my thoughts, and I would gravitate to those thoughts that were uplifting and thoughts of love. And and what I wanted to play this morning, just for my dad being raised around the church, and when they bought the first piano, he knew two or three songs in the temple, which I barely remember that song. And he used to play "What a Friend We Have in Jesus" all the time, and that was the thing I copied at 10 years old when I started playing piano. And I wanted to play that this morning. This is I hope you enjoy it. I don't know if many of y'all have a fundamental Christian experience in your life, but the song is titled "What a Friend We Have in Jesus," and I think you'll enjoy it. It's kind of my own version of it.
Thanks, Terry. Oh, what a beautiful sharing for Father's Day. And I think it's a great reminder of Jesus is still our friend and a great friend too. Always, always. That has never changed. Now's our time for sharing our gifts in gratitude. And let's begin that with our gratitude for our blessings. Dear Father, Mother God, we are so blessed with all the things that you have provided for us in our life. And we're especially grateful for the gifts given to this church so that we can spread your word with each other. And with this, we give thanks. Amen. And so we have our basket up here again, where you can come and bring your gifts and any prayer requests here. And you can also pick up a affirmation for the week, which we also have here. So this is our time. And just a few announcements. Next Sunday, we are beginning a new book study with Thomas More's Care of the Soul. So anybody that would like to join us either through Zoom or here at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. Yeah, we also Zoom it. So yes, if you would like to Zoom. And Carla? Okay. Okay. Oh, I guess the door's not been unlocked. Uh-oh. We did not unlock the door. Sorry about that. You can come and join us with our closing hymn.
Good morning, guys. Hi.
Okay, so let's all stand and join in our closing song. And let's join together with our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is. Wherever I am, I am. So it is. Have a great week.